Today's topic is construction inspection. This is the only term that makes our blood turn to ice. Anyway, you'll undoubtedly face it when you buy or build a house. I invited licensed inspector Jonathan Kaplan, and we will discuss what you should know about an inspection if you buy or build a house in Austin. Let me start with this. You should know about inspections' 3 advantages. The first one is safety, of course. The inspector checks all details and elements contractors have made to make your living space safe. The second advantage is the possibility to set your home into operation after it has been inspected. This will allow you to get a license to operate, thus buying or selling your house or doing other necessary actions. Finally, the third advantage is the inspector's report that you will need if you sell your home in the future. I have met 5 types of inspectors. Ones that represent counties or the city of Austin. The ones licensed independent so-called third-party inspectors who we order as a general contractor when we build our houses. The same inspectors are hired by realtors after a home has been completed. Let's meet one of them.
Hello, John.
How you doing, Igor?
How are you?
I'm doing good today. How about you?
Perfect. My day is good. My question, what is the main points that you pay attention when you do inspection?
Your core points for any kind of residential inspection is going to be your structure, systems, and life safety components. Your structure is going to be your building envelope, your framing, your headers, floor trusses, slab foundation design, anything that keeps the building up or from blowing over in a windstorm are the biggest items. Your systems are going to be your mechanical, electrical, plumbing. I generally have the same errors across the board on every inspection because everybody makes the same mistakes. Because you got your core items that they can't mess up on, like how they run the wires and where they run the wires. It's always the connection points, panels, and number of outlets per circuit. Same thing goes like your plumbing lines and your HVAC is always the same consistent mistakes. That's why we know what to look for when we're going out there. Then your life safety is going to be your egress items. Make sure they have egress windows in the bedrooms that meet the proper size. So if there is a fire, the person could exit the building through the window in case of fire, or a firefighter could enter through the window to get someone in the event of a fire. Your other systems are your stairways. Make sure your heights of your railings and stringers aren't too high or too low. So the steps aren't too tall or too short. And also your handrails in the right place so people don't go tumbling down the stairs. You also have your front entry entrances and your walkways and driveways. Make sure there's no raised elevation bumps, doors going outside. Don't have too much or too little of a drop. Because if it can't be a step if it's under 4.5 inches, and it has to be no less than 1.25 inches on an outswing door. So there's a lot of different interior components that get involved when you're doing an inspection. But we also find that a lot of them do repeat the same errors over and over. The one misnomer on inspections is the inspector makes up what they say as they go. There's actually a book called the International Residential Code. Depending on which jurisdiction you're in, they're using, like Travis County is using 2015, while City of Austin is using 2021 building code. But we do have this book that actually specifies all the codes they're allowed to dictate and produce to the client, contractor, or homeowner. Now, what makes us different as inspectors is we have to go by the book. If there's an engineer on a project, they're actually licensed to say, I don't need the book. I can look at it and do my calculations and prove it will or will not work. But that's, they go to school for many years, many calculations required for that. While as a building inspector through the International Code Council, we have the book which covers probably about 95% of the general building code requirements.
Another type of inspector is bank inspectors who come to check and identify the house construction stage to approve the next loan draw. Finally, the ones who are architects or engineers who have created the project are also inspectors. All these inspectors have different goals, tasks, and areas of inspection. Still, their actual purpose is to provide a high-quality and adequately built project with codes relevance and safety sufficient for people living there.
The common misnomer out here and misunderstanding is the state of Texas, there's very little licensing requirement for construction. The only thing that's licensed through the state or county regulations is mechanical, electrical, plumbing, sprinklers, and septic. Anything else is unlicensed. So anyone with call it the chuck in a truck, or a guy with a car and a circular saw could call themselves a contractor. And so many of these guys have no experience, no training. They watch, look at a YouTube video or watch a book and call themselves a contractor. Therefore, they've never actually had formal training, so they don't really know what to do. So with that being said, if you don't have a professional inspection group checking it that are actually licensed and trained, you don't know if you're going to get something that's actually going to hold up and work. Because it may stand up now, it may hold up for the next 2 years, but then lumber starts to bend, windstorms happen, buildings shift, clays sink, and next thing you know, you have a cracked foundation, a leaning building, a collapsing roof line, and then you have a major problem on your hands because the guys who installed it didn't actually have any formal training.
Now we're on the sites of our Hunter Pass projects. It's here where I want to show you the inspections we have already passed. For instance, plumbing has rough, middle, and final inspection types. The rough inspection is also divided into 2 stages. The first one is when an inspector sticks a green sticker after he is finished. The second one, he will stick before you're pouring the concrete. He needs to check if the pipe has not been broken and the system has not lost the pressing.
What is your favorite mistake that builders do on the construction?
I have to say the favorite mistake is when they have a set of plans, they completely ignore them and build what they feel like, because we're required to inspect based off the structural engineered plans, and we go out there and find that the structural engineering shows one thing and they built something completely different, and we just have to flat out deny them or fail them and say, unless you get another structural engineer to sign off and say that they concur that the structure as is compliant, we can't do anything else other than that. Ones are when you have homeowners or untrained contractors doing work without permits, and they get caught by the cities, and then they have to hire a firm like myself or another one to go out and do inspections and then help them with getting the permitting process through. We've walked out to numerous houses where they've literally just taken out every structural load-bearing wall inside the house so they can have an open plan concept, and you walk in the house, you look around real quick, and you walk out as quick as possible without them realizing you don't want to be there.
Because it's very dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how the roof hasn't fallen in yet, because that's the only thing holding up the roof. I think it's just hanging on by hopes and prayers at that point.
Tomorrow, they are pouring the concrete on this site. To do that, we had to pass several inspections. We first ordered the survey with the guys who identified the house site location with the help of pins. After that, the inspector checked if the house was correctly located on the site. Next, we made the foundation form and sent the form survey to the bank. Then we made the rebar that the engineer who designed the acceptable form had been checked. The plumbing that we have mentioned above, we passed before rebar works. After that, we checked the pipes, and now we are waiting for the inspection, which we'll check before concrete pouring. Each of these stages is critical during foundation works. After pouring the concrete, we could not change its location or move the pipes, so it's vital to pass all inspections before concrete pouring.
John, what changed in the building process during last time?
There's been a lot of changes. I think the biggest one has to be the misnomers of different city, county, and state regulations for building construction. Obviously, like in the city of Austin, they have heavy inspection requirements, while Travis County, everybody thinks there's no inspections required. Same thing for like Williamson County, Hayes County. In fact, they don't do their own inspections, but they do require you to have third-party inspections. The biggest component to that is in the state of Texas, there's a 10-year warranty applied to any structural component of a building constructed. And so many of these builders and contractors and homeowners just have something built, not realizing they're carrying the bag on that for 10 years for both construction litigation and defective claims. Even if they sold the house to somebody else, they're still on the hook for it. And if they don't have the proper inspections, they don't do it in the proper manner, there could be a lot of long-term liabilities with that.
House construction schedule will have the following order of inspections: house location inspection, foundation inspection, frame, plumbing, electricity, conditioning inspection, house OSB cover inspection to check nails and self-cutting screws proper fix, plasterboard inspection, frame proper assembling inspection, finishing materials inspection, railing inspection for rail work, and final electricity and plumbing inspection after all toilets and sockets have been fixed. And the last independent inspection that will give you the inspection report that identifies if the house meets all codes. As you can see, there's a lot that goes into this. This final inspector's report approves the living ability of your home and your ability to enjoy living in it. Sign up on our channel and I will go check my objects.